There may be scientific discoveries humanity already made 2,000 years ago, and then lost forever. Because in ancient Egypt, there once stood a place with a terrifying ambition. A library meant to collect every piece of knowledge in the world, every book, every discovery, every idea humanity had ever written down. Scholars from across the ancient world came to study there. But one day, the greatest library in human history disappeared. And when it did, centuries of human knowledge vanished with it. Knowledge we may never recover. This was the Library of Alexandria. More than 2,000 years ago, Alexandria was the intellectual capital of the world. Founded by Alexander the Great in 331 BC, the city quickly became the center of learning for the ancient Mediterranean. But the real ambition came from the rulers who followed him, the Ptolemies. Their goal was breathtakingly simple: collect every book ever written, every poem, every philosophy, every scientific discovery, everything humanity knew, and store it in one place. The result was the Library of Alexandria, the most ambitious knowledge project in human history. The library wasn't just a building. It was an entire research complex. Scholars lived there, studied there, debated ideas there. Some of the greatest thinkers in history worked inside its halls. Mathematicians, astronomers, philosophers, doctors, people who were centuries ahead of their time. One scholar there, Eratosthenes, managed to calculate the circumference of the Earth using nothing but shadows and geometry. And he was astonishingly accurate. Another scholar, Herophilus, conducted early medical research that helped lay the foundations of anatomy. But what made Alexandria truly powerful was its collection. Ships entering the harbor were sometimes searched for books. Any scrolls found were taken to the library, copied, and stored. The originals were often kept. Within a few generations, the library may have contained hundreds of thousands of scrolls. For the ancient world, this was the closest thing to the internet. But knowledge has a problem. It's fragile. Scrolls decay, parchment rots, fires spread, and political power shifts. The Library of Alexandria existed in a world where empires constantly rose and fell. And when civilizations collapse, libraries are often the first casualties. Over the centuries, Alexandria faced multiple disasters: wars, political upheaval, religious conflict, and possibly the most famous incident of all, a fire started during the invasion of Julius Caesar. But the truth about the library's destruction is far more complicated than the famous story suggests. In 48 BC, Julius Caesar found himself trapped in Alexandria during a civil war. To prevent enemy ships from capturing the harbor, he ordered the fleet burned. The flames spread. Warehouses caught fire. Buildings collapsed. Some historians believe the flames may have reached parts of the library. But here's the strange thing. The library didn't disappear overnight. Evidence suggests it survived for centuries after Caesar, which raises a troubling possibility. The Library of Alexandria may not have been destroyed by one catastrophic event. Instead, it may have died slowly. Neglect, political instability, changing priorities, funding disappearing, scholars leaving, knowledge fading. The greatest library in human history didn't explode into ashes. It simply stopped being maintained. No one knows exactly how many works vanished with the library. But historians believe the losses were enormous. Plays by ancient Greek dramatists that we only know by name. Scientific works that may have contained discoveries centuries ahead of their time. Historical records that could have changed our understanding of ancient civilizations. We don't even know what we lost. Because once knowledge disappears completely, there is no record it ever existed. Imagine if entire fields of science had to be rediscovered from scratch. In some cases, that may have happened. Centuries later, scholars during the Islamic Golden Age and the European Renaissance had to rebuild knowledge that earlier civilizations may already have understood. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria represents something deeper than a historical tragedy. It reveals a truth about civilizations. Knowledge is not permanent. Every generation assumes its knowledge will survive. But that assumption depends on stable institutions, libraries, universities, archives, and the societies that protect them. When those systems fail, knowledge can vanish surprisingly quickly. The fall of Rome showed how fragile infrastructure can be. The loss of Alexandria showed how fragile knowledge can be. And history suggests something unsettling. Civilizations rarely realize what they're losing until it's already gone. Today, humanity stores more knowledge than ever before. Digital archives, scientific databases, libraries spread across the globe. But the lesson of Alexandria still matters. Because the survival of knowledge isn't guaranteed. It depends on people, on institutions, on societies that choose to preserve what they've learned. 2,000 years ago, humanity tried to gather all knowledge in one place. And for a time, it succeeded. But when that system failed, so did the knowledge it protected. The Library of Alexandria didn't just burn. It took pieces of human understanding with it. Pieces we may never recover. If you enjoy deep historical stories like this, consider subscribing. Because history isn't just about the past. Sometimes it's a warning about the future.